Hi, my name is Kiva and I'm a makeup artist from Dublin in Ireland. I've had acne for over 10 years, so today I would like to show you how to apply day makeup to help cover up your problem skin. Thanks for watching. So the first thing I do after cleansing my face is apply a primer base of silver serum. This product is so good for problem skin as it has silver and healing properties in it, so it acts as a really good base to protect your skin from the chemicals in foundation and makeup. So just apply that liberally all over your face. And then I let it set and dry in for about 10 minutes or so. I think this is really important because this is the base of your foundation and this is what will keep it on your face all day, and it will stop it from slipping off as the day goes on and your face gets more oily. So as I said, you leave that for about 10 minutes until it's nice and dried into your skin, and then I apply my foundation after that. To apply our foundation, take a clean flat brush and take enough foundation to cover your whole face in one sweep, and apply that over your face with the flat brush. The idea here is to use a clean brush, because if you use a brush, say yesterday, you take the bacteria from your face onto that brush and then you're transferring that bacteria to today. The same thing goes for getting all your foundation out of the pot in one sweep, because if you put the brush to your face and then dip it back into your foundation box or bottle, you can transfer the bacteria again into the foundation bottle. If you're using a tube foundation, you can just squeeze it onto the back of your hand and take it as often as you like from there. So when applying with your flat brush, it doesn't need to be completely even because we're going to buff it out at the next step with a different brush. So when that's more or less covered your face, take a clean stippling brush, and if you like, you can add a bit more foundation from your tub or your pot, which I'm going to do, and just in really light circular motions, buff that over your face to even out your foundation. So the foundation I use is from Lush. It's a natural foundation which I find helps a lot when you've problem skin. So you want to avoid as many chemicals as you can, because your foundation gets soaked up into your skin, and if you have unnatural chemicals in your foundation, it can cause a hormonal reaction, which, as we all know, can lead to spots and acne. So we just buff that in nicely. And make sure to bring it all the way down to just under your jawline as well, but not down to your neck. We can apply powder to our neck if necessary. Okay, and when that's all buffed in, we can apply concealer to cover up any spots or scars you might have. So with your concealer, again, we don't want to be dipping the concealer brush into the pot, onto your face, into the pot, onto your face. So what I use is a little scraper, and I use that to just scrape as much concealer as I need out of the pot and put that onto the back of my hand. You can get these scrapers in any manicure set, or if you don't have one, you can use a Q-tip or a cotton bud. So taking a flat concealer brush, just dip into your concealer there and press it onto your spots or scars and just twist it. And that will help apply the concealer evenly. Now the trick here is to not press too hard because we don't want to aggravate our skin, but you also need to press hard enough to get the concealer onto your face. So with a bit of practice, it starts to just come naturally. And because the foundation is already on my skin, the concealer I use is actually from MAC. Now it does have chemicals in it, but it's really good at concealing. So I already have my protective silver serum base on and I have my foundation over that. So at this point, my skin has enough layers between it to handle a bit of chemicals. So I can get away with it there. And a tip for thinning out your nose is to just draw a line of concealer down the center of it. Don't worry again if the concealer isn't even, because we're going to buff it out like we did with our foundation, but I'm also going to apply powder on top of it to fix it into place, which will even out my whole skin tone. If you have lots of raised spots or cysts, a flat brush might not do the trick because you've got a 3D surface area rather than a 2D surface area. So what you can use is an eyeshadow blending brush, similar to this one. This is a MAC 217 brush, and if you like, you can just take it, make sure it's clean, dip it into the concealer, and use that to buff in concealer over a raised spot. So similar to a stippling brush, they can be quite handy. Yeah. So take the same stippling brush, and again, very, very lightly, just buff around the edges of where your concealer is applied. You need to be really, really light here because you don't want to remove the concealer that you've just applied, but you do want to even it out. Again, it doesn't need to be 100% completely even, flush and blended in, because as I said, we're going to apply powder over this. I like to spend a lot of time getting my base right because that's where my problem skin is. It's typically around my cheeks and my chin. So if I spend enough time getting this right, it really lays the foundation for my whole makeup. So after that's done, I apply powder. So the powder I use is the mineralized one from MAC. I think it's quite good when you have problem skin, as it has a shimmer in it, which can be used to deflect light back away from any red spots you have. So with this, I put loads of powder on it for the first few brushes, and instead of just applying it, press it onto the area where your concealer is and twist it, just like we did with the concealer brush, and this really presses the powder into your face and sets that concealer. When you have covered up all the areas where you put the concealer on, you can just add powder to your brush as normal and lightly brush it over the rest of your face. And with the powder, you can bring it down to your neck as well, in case you need to blend out any lines from your jawline. And the way to tell when you've got enough powder on is to lightly press your skin with clean hands, and if it's still tacky, you need to put on more powder and just apply it there like that. And just keep checking your skin until it feels dry, essentially. Make sure your hands are clean as well before applying any of your makeup. And that is the base done. So once your base is done, the next step is contouring and highlighting. So for the contouring, you need a matte bronzer and an angled brush. So just dip your angled brush into your contouring palette and give it a bit of a shake so that you're not depositing a large amount of powder onto any one section. We want to contour the areas that are, where shadows would fall naturally on our face. So typically this is underneath your cheekbones and up in the corners of your face up here. So the way I do this is just to purse my lips and shade in underneath my cheekbones. So and it's really important to blend this out really well, as you don't want a very obvious line underneath your cheekbones. The overall idea is to make your face as oval as possible with your contouring, but also to bring in some angles at the cheekbones to highlight them. And then with whatever's left on the brush, I like to just bring it down the side of my nose as that thins out your nose a bit there. And if there's any areas that you think you're unhappy with on your face that maybe you want to draw less attention to, like for example, I think my chin, I like to draw a little less attention there. Just add a light bit of contouring or shading to that there as well. Then using the same brush, we can use our blusher. Mine is a simple mineral one. I don't know where it's from. And we apply the blusher or the highlighter to areas that we want to draw attention to. So similarly to our contouring, just apply it to the brush and give it a shake before you put it onto your face so that you don't deposit a large amount of powder anywhere. So first things you want to highlight are your cheeks. So smile and just apply the powder to the apples of your cheeks. And then using circular motions, just buff it out and blend it out. So next we want to blend our contouring and our highlighting into each other so that they're not quite, very, very different from each other. So just taking the powder brush you had earlier, just blend that all out there so that it's more natural looking. And if you want, you can add a bit more powder over them, as I put a little bit too much blusher on, so I just want to kind of blend that out a bit there with my powder, my face powder. And that is your contouring and highlighting. So next up is your eyebrows. And to do this, I take a very small flat brush and just a little brow kit. But you can use any kind of light mink colour or brown colour for your eyebrows, entirely depending on what colour they are and what your preference is. So I dip the brush into the brown that I'm going to use, and again shake it off so you don't get that powder buildup. And I just take the side of the brush and line it up with the side of your nose and just draw a line, and that's where your eyebrows start. Take the brush again and bring it out to the side of your eyes and look straight ahead, and that's where your arch will be. And same on the other side. And then take the brush and bring it along the outside of your eye and line it up with the end of your eyebrow, and that is where your eyebrow ends. And then after that, it's just connecting the dots. So I start at the arch, as that's where I like the most amount of emphasis and powder to be, and then I just drag that powder back to where my eyebrow starts. I find the best method of makeup for covering up problem skin is distraction rather than application. One thing I quite often see when girls and boys have quite heavy acne is that they apply a lot of foundation to their face. So this not only draws more attention to your actual skin, like your skin, but it also can clog your pores, and it doesn't really allow time for your acne to heal by itself. So if you can use natural and organic products as your base, your foundation, your primer, you're giving your skin a chance to A, breathe, and B, you're protecting it from the chemicals that you find in foundations. Also, if you can give yourself a bit of a more dramatic eye or lip, you're drawing attention away from your skin and drawing attention more towards, say, your eyebrows, for example, or your eyes or your lips, which is another way of distracting from your skin. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given about eyebrows is that eyebrows are sisters, not twins. So if you can't get them to exactly match up at first, don't worry. Human eye automatically corrects asymmetrical objects. So it will, when people are looking at you, they'll see even and symmetrical eyebrows anyway. And you can always use your fingers. Okay. So next up is eyeshadow. So I love the Naked palette. It's got all the colours you need for day to night. Can't fault it. So the first one I want to do here is apply a base of eyeshadow in a neutral colour. So I just used the first one in the Naked palette. It's called Foxy. But any neutral colour eyeshadow will work. And apply that all over your eye, all the way up to your eyebrows. This acts as a base, and when you apply the actual eyeshadow you want to wear on top of it, it will blend better the more of this base you apply. And I apply it under my eyes as well. And when you're ready with that, using the same brush, take your lighter toned eyeshadow to apply over your socket. So I'm going to use Booty Call, which is the third one in the Naked palette, and apply that over your eye socket. Similarly to your foundation brushes, it's a good idea to always keep your eyeshadow brushes clean as well, because if you leave colour on it from the day before and then you change the colours you use the next day, you'll end up with an alien third colour on your eyes that you didn't want. So when you have your light colour on, you need to apply a dark colour to your socket to create depth. So I use a dome socket brush, which is used for applying eyeshadow in there to the socket. So you can take your darker colour, or a trick is to use the same colour you used in your eyebrows to create a kind of a colour palette, and just apply that dark colour to your eye socket. This doesn't need to be even, again, because we're going to blend it out like we've done with pretty much everything else. And again, make sure that you're shaking your brush before you apply the eyeshadow to your eye, so you don't end up with a deposit of colour at one specific point. So when you've got roughly the same amount of colour on both sides, we'll take a blending brush, a clean blending brush, and blend that all in together. So make sure this is clean, because if you have a colour on it, it will just apply the colour rather than blending the dark and the light two eyeshadow colours together. So just using small circular motions, very light strokes, blend that out on both sides. And you can bring the eyeshadow under as well for a bit of depth if you like. And that creates your eyeshadow with a bit of depth in it. So next you want to take a white eyeliner, and you're going to run this along your eyeline. Just take the eyeliner and just run it along your eyeline there, and this brings out the whites in your eyes. With eyeliner, make sure you never share it with anyone else, because everyone has bacteria on their eye, and if you share it with someone, your body may not like the bacteria on their eye, and you could cause yourself an eye infection. There you go. And then we're on to lips. So as I mentioned earlier, I like to do distraction to distract from my skin rather than covering up my spots and scars with a lot of foundation and concealer. So I do love a really bold red lip. So the first step of lips is to take a lip liner, and on your Cupid's bow, just line out the top of it there, the points, and then the middle, and connect the dots. We want to stay inside the lip line and colour it all in. And then after that, you can start going outside your lip line, depending on how full you want to make your lips. So I usually do a bit underneath my lip, and then I also like to accentuate the Cupid's bow as well. And when your lips are all coloured in, take your favourite lipstick. Mine is Ruby Woo from MAC. And just apply it to your lips. And if any part needs to be evened out, just take your lip liner again and push your lipstick into the places where you need to apply it. To stop your lipstick getting on your teeth, just put your finger in your mouth and pull it out. And that will create a little line of lipstick around your finger, which will stop it getting on your teeth. So the final step is mascara. So to be honest, every mascara I've ever used is more or less the same. I find it's the wand that makes the difference, and depending on what mood I'm in, I'll use a different mascara. So this month I'm using Great Lash from Maybelline. And the first thing you do is apply it to your bottom lashes first and then to your top lashes. Because if you apply it to your top lashes first and then look down to apply it to your bottom lashes, you'll end up with dots of mascara up here. So with mascara, make sure you throw it out and change it at least once a month. I usually get about 3 weeks out of mine. The reason being is that you're applying it to your eye, dipping it back into your mascara, and you're taking bacteria from your eye and putting it into your mascara. And when you have problem skin, there can be a lot of good and bad bacteria on your face, and you don't want that multiplying inside your mascara. Similarly to eyeliner, you should never share your mascara either. Another tip with mascara is when you're putting the wand back in, roll it around. Don't run it up and down, because this adds air to your mascara, which can cause some of the chemicals to react and can change the consistency of your mascara. So you want to put it in and roll it around. Never run it up and down like that. And we're more or less done. At this point, I usually go back and make sure my eyebrows are as even as I can get them, which I think they are. I'll just fix the arch up there a bit. And I also like to add some finishing highlighter touches. The highlighter I have is a loose eyeshadow from MAC. It's called Champagne. It's lovely and shimmery. So I tip that out into the lid. And just using a loose eyeshadow brush, anyone will do really, just dip that into the insides of your eyes, up underneath your eyebrow. With this, I don't shake the brush, as I want as much of it in one specific spot as I can. And also just lightly on top of your Cupid's bow. Be careful putting it on top of your Cupid's bow, because too much can look like sweat. And we're done. So that is how I apply my makeup to cover up my acne scars and the spots that I have on my face currently. As I've mentioned, my main method is distraction rather than application to cover up. I find that if you put, a red lip or a dark eye or smoky eye on, you're usually in a much better position to distract from your acne skin rather than just putting on loads of makeup to try cover it up. Thanks very much for watching.